Welcome, everyone. First of all, my apologies for last week. We were in the middle of moving from one house to another, and I didn't have my phone. We closed the internet down at my house, and when I looked at my clock, I realized the meeting started like half an hour ago, and I just totally blitzed it. So that is my fault. And so you guys were benefited at least by not having to watch a recording, many of you, and some of you were unbenefited because you probably sat around for 15 minutes wondering what in the world's going on. And those of you who did reach out by email, thank you. It's just, I wish I would have seen it half an hour before versus half an hour after. So what we're going to do today is we're going to do a little bit from last week and a little bit from this week, but I'm going to honor the commitment to not have this go beyond 25 minutes. But I do want to cover a couple things just from last week and then talk about what we're doing the next 3 weeks. And what we're doing the next 3 weeks is basically taking a little bit of a break from building your personal creed document. And the reason we're doing that is because we want to really set the stage for this next part. And the reason we want to do that is we're going to talk a little bit about it today. All 7 parts of your personal creed document have real merit, but this is kind of the centerpiece. What you value, what motivates you, the reasons that you and I do things is pretty impactful. So we're going to spend some time building up to that. And then it's kind of a sprint. The last 4 weeks of the class, you do personal creed document number 4, 5, 6, and 7 in 4 consecutive weeks. And the last one, personal creed document number 7, you do the last week of the class. So you're actually going to do 7 and package your final product all at once. So, but what I wanted to do this week, it's just, I hate missing this part, so we're going to do it, and that is a little personality activity and tie it into last week. Now, what we're doing is what we call the shapes test. Now, these are the instructions, okay? You can have a piece of paper if you want to, or just some way to be able to rank something here in a second. Now, this is the rules to the shapes test. You don't want to overthink this. What I'm going to do on the next slide is to show you 5 different shapes. And I want you in about 10 seconds, 15 seconds tops, to list the 5 shapes in order of your preference. So those of you watching this as a recording, you just have to kind of play along like we're doing this live. But 5 shapes, and I want you to just I want you to think about it, but not overthink it, if that's possible. You could sit there and spend a few minutes saying, well, I think I like this one better, I like this one better. This will be more reflective and more accurate if you kind of go with your initial response. So I'm going to, on the next slide, show you the 5 shapes, and then your job in 10 seconds, 15 seconds, just list these shapes in order of your preference. Favorite shape, least favorite shape. Okay, we ready? Set, go. 5 shapes. In no particular order, just 5 shapes. List them according to what you like.
Are we supposed to be seeing something on a slide?
You guys see the slides?
I just see law of entropy.
Oh, I've got 2 slideshows going. Hang on. How did I do this? Thank you. All right, hang on. I'm going to stop the share. And what do you guys see now?
I see you.
See me. Do you see it? No, nothing else?
No.
Okay.
Well, I see the other people in class, but that's all.
That's it. Okay, thank you. Sorry. All right, let's try this again. All right, I'm going to share this. This should maybe bring it up. All right, do we see shapes?
Yes.
Okay, here's your 5 shapes. Thank you. We're going to talk about law of entropy in just a minute. This probably threw the whole thing off. That's okay. 5 shapes in order of your preference. About 10, 15 seconds worth. So you have a square, rectangle, triangle, circle, and squiggly line. Okay, we ready? All right, so I'm gonna open up my chat window. You guys can, we'll chat, or some of you can chime in. I want you just to type in your chat name if square was your #1 shape. All of you #1 squares, list it. Okay, so Hannah's a square, thank you. Bronson, Hillary, Jake, very good. We have a few squares. Okay, how about rectangles? Any rectangles? Type your name if you're a rectangle. Rectangle #1. Of the 28, we ought to have at least 1 rectangle. Okay, Ashlyn is a rectangle. Okay, anybody else? Rectangle's the least common, always. All right, triangles. Type in your name if you're triangle. So here we go, Tasha, Cindy, Tess, Trevor. All right, that's a few more. Okay, circles. So Heavenly's triangle, some more circles. Lindsay's a circle, Camille, Kelsey, Stephen, Hannah, okay. We actually have 2 Hannahs. Hannah is one, and then the other Hannah prior is another. Okay, squiggly lines. Any squigglies? Okay, excellent. All right, now as I go through this, I'm going to show you that most of us lean towards a couple. So I am a triangle circle. Triangle is my dominant shape, circle is my second one, okay? My wife would be a square, circle square, okay? So let's talk about each of these. Okay, the first one is the square. The square, the title of this is they're the workers. They like order, structure, they like jobs to be done right. They're very good problem solvers, they like the status quo, and they're very organized. All right, you squares, you can unmute your mics if you're brave enough, but how does that feel? Anybody that's a square, does that feel right?
Definitely not me.
This square? Who is that? This one?
It does feel like me.
Okay, excellent. Okay. Now, next one. I think we had one rectangle. Everybody wants to be married to a rectangle, okay? They're the team players. They're a flexible square. They still like organization. They're very accommodating, like things done fairly. They want people to get along, okay? So who is our one, maybe we have more than that, but who is our one rectangle? I'm trying to remember. Okay, so Ashlyn. Ashlyn, does that feel right? I want to be a rectangle. That's like third for me. Okay. And then the next one is the mover and the shaker is the triangle. Okay, the triangle is the mover and the shaker. Climbers, action-oriented, like to make decisions, look to the future. They don't always pay attention to detail. They like to make lists, but may not always follow them. And they have a lot of irons in the fire. How does that sound and feel to those of you who listed rectangle?
Not me.
Okay.
A couple of these things describe me, but not most of them.
Yeah. What would fit so far, Trevor? Maybe
Looks to the future. I would say looks to the future and action oriented.
Yeah.
And likes to make decisions. But the one that really threw me off was does not pay much attention to detail. That's not me at all. I'm pretty meticulous when I do stuff.
What was square for you?
Square was 3 for me.
What was number 1?
Number 1 was triangle.
Triangle? Okay.
Yeah.
That's right. Okay, we're talking triangles. All right. So what was second for you, Trevor?
A rectangle.
Rectangle? Okay, so that's true. Rectangles still like paying attention to detail, so that's leaning up a little bit. Okay, and all of us are a little bit of all of these. We just lean some towards one. Okay, so the circle is the next one. That's what we call the lover. very adaptive. They like harmony. They get along with most people. They like to talk. They're very personal, approachable, and they're good people readers. Okay, circles. Camille's smiling. Are you a circle, Camille?
Yes, I am. And it fits me to a T.
The circle is your number one shape, right?
Yep.
Excellent. Okay. So we've got some people typing in pretty much, definitely, and yes. Tyler says yes, but a little squarish. Okay, and that sounds like my wife. She's a circle and a square. Okay, last one. The wild things, wild people, wild person. These are our squiggly lines. They like variety. They don't mind being a little out of control as long as it's fun. They're very creative, will try anything. They like independence, and they are daring. How does that sound, squigglies?
That is kind of me, but not really me. Something, I don't know, likes variety is definitely me, very creative and independent, but the rest of them do not fit me at all.
Okay, what's your second one?
A triangle.
Okay, and how does that feel?
The triangle, I don't know, I think the one that fits me the most was actually square, but that was fourth on my list, which was weird because I'm very meticulous and I don't know, it's just interesting how I picked that. I don't know, it's weird.
So let's talk about how most of us are a little bit of both of these, or we'll have two dominant ones. So this is my two dominant ones. And if we go back to this, we can look at these shapes, and these kind of go in order. I actually have them in order of left brain, top left here, left brain, right brain. So square, rectangle are more left brain. If you talk about people who are in accounting, engineering, they would land themselves more to square. Triangles would be more like the finance entrepreneurs, people who want to run their own company. Circle would be more artistic, more communications, public relations. Squiggly would be, again, very right brain, artistic, kind of free-spirited. Now, the lesson here, which does actually apply to the book Inner Victory, is at the end of the chapter, on this chapter of Inner Victory, there are 4 different kinds of personality types. Dominant, directive would lean towards or be most in alignment with triangle. Influencing or interactive would be more circle. Steadiness and supportive would be more rectangle. And conscientious, compliant, and competent would be more square. Now, how does this apply to what we're doing with Inner Victory in this class? And that is, as you created, and I loved reading your assignment this last week. I didn't have internet for a week, so I was benefited going to Boise for my grandson's baptism. And so I just kind of camped out in my son's front room and used his internet and just blasted through these as fast as I could. But I really enjoyed reading them and looking at people's unique gifts, abilities, talents, people's humility in things that they need to work on. But if we look at our personalities, I'm probably not in my lifetime going to transform myself from a triangle to a squiggly. And I'm not going to change my wife from being a square to a triangle. And understanding that different is different, not wrong, will allow us to be a little more accommodating and tolerant of other people. We just need to understand that we're all different. We're all wired different. We all have different strengths and uniquenesses and pet peeves and challenges. And my wife's closet in our new home, the home that I was in last week, had my closet, her closet, opposite sides of the room, okay? In my new home, we share a walk-in closet. And the way my wife has organized it is my stuff's before her stuff. So she's going to be bugged every time she walks past my stuff if the dress shirts aren't together and first of all, nothing on the floor. I can't have anything on the floor. As a true triangle, I might be okay with that, but I'm going to accommodate her. But she would have it more color-coded, dress shirts, all the ties lined up, dress pants, sport coats, casual, the shoes neatly aligned. My stuff is put away, not neatly aligned. But understanding how she is, I'm going to try and be a little more accommodating. So that's that part. Now, let's talk about this week, okay? This week, we're talking about the law of entropy and the art of progressive living. So we'll do this pretty quickly. The law of entropy simply states if we don't pay attention to the things that matter most, they are going to entropy. They're going to go to a disorganized, chaotic, messy state. Going counterclockwise around these pictures. If I don't pay attention to my relationship with my partner, my spouse, it's not going to go where I want it to go. If I look at my yard, if I the yard will take care of itself. My flower beds, it's going to become messy. My desk is a little messy. My desk, a little messy. Not horrible. Very triangle-ish. But my desk, my bedroom, and my health. So the art of progressive living, this week, the law of entropy and the art of progressive living is very simply, when we pay attention to the things that matter most to us, then we're going to live progressively. If I pay attention to my faith, my discipleship, my relationship, my health, my home, my job, the things that I value, then they are going to be in a better state. So, as simple as I can make it. This is my family minus 2 grandkids. So this is a little older picture. I need to update this. So my adopted son is to the left, my left shoulder. He's now 6'3", so that tells you how many years have passed. And I'm missing on my family to the left, to your left, my right, 2 granddaughters, and my daughter in the middle is now married, 1 grandson, or 1 son-in-law. So when we pay attention to the things that are important, that matter most, that we value, then we are living progressively. So what we're going to be doing over the next couple of weeks is we're going to identify the things that you value. And we're going to do some exercises. Now, if I was to give you a list, you could say, yeah, right now, what's most important to me? You could probably come up with a list right away. For me, it's my family, my faith, my health, my job, my home, my friends. Those are the things that I value. Now, reintroducing Clayton Christensen, we're going to skip that. We would have done a game today, but it was mostly to fill time. We don't have time to fill, so we're going to pass on that. But this is Clayton Christensen. He's the author of How Will You Measure Your Life? He said that there are 3 parts of purpose. These are the 3 parts. Purpose is synonymous with values. What is purposeful, what is important to me are things that I value. And what he suggests that we do is everybody should create a vision statement, a likeness statement. If you could write down in a paragraph what you want to become, that's what you would be doing. His second goal is to become committed. You should become committed to that likeness, that vision. And then you should be able to find a tool where you can judge for yourself, how am I doing with living this way? So this is his, I'm just going to read this to you. This is his vision statement, his purpose statement. He wants to be a man who is dedicated to improve the lives of other people, a kind, honest, forgiving, and selfless husband, father, and friend, and a man who just doesn't believe in God, but who believes God. So this is just a little, want you to think. And you guys can talk to me or put this on chat. Looking at these 3 bullet statements, what are the things that he values? Clayton Christensen, he values what off of this document? Any ideas? Okay. Heavenly says family.
He
Okay.
values.
Huh?
He values to help other people, like improve their lives.
Service. Okay. Excellent. Jen says relationships, God and family. Okay. Other people and God. Excellent. Thank you, Bryson. Anybody else? Service. Okay. So that's a really good list. He wants to serve others. He wants to be a great husband and father and friend, and he wants to serve God. Those are his values, okay? Now, one of the things, and I think it's the most important 2 or 3 pages in the book, okay? I'm just going to summarize this. The second part of having this vision statement would be to say, how do I become committed to this? And then the third part would be, how would I measure how I'm doing? And he says on his measurement is that in the end of the day, he just wants to say, have I been able to serve and bless other people? And he says, if I have an interview with God, our conversation will focus on the individuals whose self-esteem I was able to strengthen, whose faith I was able to reinforce, whose discomfort I was able to assuage, a doer of good. Now, in sometime in the next couple of weeks, you're going to read about the law of 1%. Now, the law of 1% is a really good practice, and there is no art. I think the law of 1% is also an art. And that is, if we will get in the habit of spending some time every day, 1% of your day is exactly 14.4 minutes, okay, almost 15 minutes. If you were to spend about 15 minutes a day in a quiet spot, it could be when you get up before you plan your day, or it could be in some meditation before you go to bed. It could be with your personal creed document. It could be with personal creed document number 4, looking at your values. You can say to yourself, how am I doing with my progressive living? And at the end of most days, I could say to myself, pretty good day. I put my wife and family first. I was honest and hardworking. I didn't lie, cheat, or steal. I took care of myself. Or I might have some discomfort and say, well, you know, I was short with my son, or I really didn't work that hard today. I watched something that I shouldn't have watched, or I did something on social media, or engaged in something that was maybe a little not super appropriate. I was really lazy today. Well, you're going to be able to say, you're going to be able to self-assess. Good day, bad day. Bad day, it means you're probably not in alignment with your values. You know, if you look back at Clayton Christensen and the law of 1%, you know, he could probably say at the end, and we all are human, right? We don't do this perfectly any day, or maybe some days we're better. But if we spend some time reflecting on our values and how we're doing, we will become better at living by our values and have more peace and joy in the end. So let's just talk about this last week. I did one thing today. I had an online meeting with some really talented instructors. I have put everybody in groups. I just think it'll be a little bit better than having this gigantic, long discussion board. You have to scroll. This one hasn't commented on. Every group has at least 12 members. A couple have 13, 14. So that's just going to make it easier for you when you post your initial post and comment on other people's posts. So hopefully that'll help as you work through this. The second thing would be this week, there's just a couple of assignments. So a lighter week, you'll be grateful for that. You know, you'll have your threaded discussion, case study threaded discussion, activity, and class meeting report. So there's no personal creed document assignment this week. Any questions?
If we already commented on the discussion board, will it automatically pull us into that group, or do we need to comment again so it goes into the group that we're assigned to?
That's a really good question. So if you've already, I'm not going to worry about it too much this week. Just do your best, knowing that this week will look muddy for me, and it might look muddy for you. So all of you on the live meeting, 37 of you, and those watching the recording, just do your best with your posts and comments. So I'm not going to be picky this week because that's on me, not on you. That make sense?
Yep, sounds great. Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah.
Question: do you want us to be working on like identifying our values, or just kind of doing the assignments and then we'll do that a little bit later?
Assignments. We're going to spend some time. you've already done a little bit this week, right? Because your case study has you starting to think that way, looking up conference talks on values, making a list. So you're already starting on that. And your values list between now and when you actually submit your draft in 3+ weeks might look very different. So I wouldn't sweat it. We're going to go through it, and we're going to, it could evolve a little bit. My sense is most of us probably know what matters most to us, but the value, the power is thinking about it, writing it down. But then we're going to talk about how we script your values into making better choices.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
Long answer, sorry. Okay, any other questions? So Erica asked, are we doing the quotes from the talks in the final document? Not necessarily. That's just kind of an exercise to get you thinking along this line. Now, I've seen a lot of personal creed documents that within their values or within their mission statement or within their goals, they have a favorite quote or a scripture. That's perfectly fine, but it does not have to be part of the document. Okay, I'll stay on for a few minutes to talk to any of you if you want. If not, have a great week, and we'll be back together next week. Thank you.